Welcome to Wiser Reads, where every book becomes a journey of self-discovery and understanding. Today, we dive into one of the most profound explorations of human behavior ever written, The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. In this masterpiece, Greene unveils the hidden patterns that shape our thoughts, emotions, and actions. He takes us beneath the surface of polite society to reveal the powerful forces that govern why people do what they do, forces often rooted in fear, ego, desire, and insecurity. Through timeless wisdom, historical stories, and psychological insight, the book teaches us how to decode human behavior, both in ourselves and in others. Each law is a mirror, reflecting the parts of our nature we often ignore, our irrational impulses, our hidden envy, our deep longing for attention, and our fear of being misunderstood. Greene doesn't simply expose these truths. He offers the tools to master them. By understanding these laws, we gain emotional intelligence, self-control, and the ability to navigate relationships with wisdom and strength. This isn't just a guide to reading others. It's a journey toward mastering yourself. The more you understand human nature, the more compassionate and powerful you become. You stop reacting blindly and start responding consciously. So as you listen, open your mind to the deeper layers of what it means to be human. Allow these insights to awaken the awareness and empathy that live within you. If you love exploring the wisdom hidden in books that transform the way we think and live, make sure to subscribe to Wiser Reads and join our growing community of curious minds. Together, we'll keep uncovering the timeless truths that make us wiser every day. The Law of Irrationality. Master your emotions. Human beings like to believe they are rational, but in truth, we are ruled by emotions. Robert Greene begins The Laws of Human Nature by reminding us that emotions drive most of our decisions, and reason often comes only afterward to justify them. This emotional blindness causes poor judgment, impulsive choices, and unnecessary conflict. To master this law, we must first acknowledge our own irrationality. The goal isn't to suppress emotion, but to understand it. Greene advises developing emotional awareness, noticing the first stirrings of anger, envy, or fear before they control us. When we pause and analyze these emotions, we regain clarity and prevent them from shaping our behavior unconsciously. He also encourages us to study the emotions of others. By observing their tone, posture, and reactions, we can see beneath their surface rationality and understand what truly motivates them. This awareness gives us an edge in relationships, leadership, and decision-making. Mastering your emotions doesn't make you cold or detached. It makes you powerful. It allows you to respond with strategy rather than impulse, and to see reality as it is, not as your feelings wish it to be. True rationality is emotional intelligence in action. The law of narcissism transforms self-love into empathy. Everyone has a degree of self-absorption. It's part of being human. The problem arises when that self-focus becomes so strong that it blinds us to others. Greene calls this narcissistic tendency the root of disconnection and conflict. The antidote is empathic awareness. Instead of seeking validation, we must learn to step outside ourselves and view the world through other people's eyes. By doing so, we uncover their needs, fears, and desires, and build genuine influence and trust. Greene distinguishes between deep narcissists, who are trapped in their own ego, and healthy narcissists, who channel self-love into creativity and empathy. The key is to transform your self-focus into understanding and compassion. When you master empathy, you stop taking things personally and start connecting meaningfully. You become a mirror of understanding, someone others naturally trust and follow. In that transformation lies the highest form of self-love,
awareness that embraces both self and others.
The law of role-playing. See through the masks of others. In the law of role-playing, Robert Greene reveals a fundamental truth about human behavior. Everyone wears a mask. Society teaches us to hide our real thoughts and emotions to fit in, to be accepted, or to gain advantage. People present idealized versions of themselves, confident, kind, loyal, while concealing their fears, insecurities, and hidden motives. Understanding this truth is essential if we want to see others clearly and protect ourselves from manipulation. Greene explains that these masks are not inherently evil. They are necessary tools for social survival. However, problems arise when we mistake the mask for the true person. We fall for appearances, trust too easily, or misjudge intentions. To avoid this, we must train ourselves to read beneath the surface. By paying attention to tone, microexpressions, inconsistencies, and emotional leakage, we can uncover the truth behind the facade. Greene urges us to develop radar-like empathy, not to judge others, but to see them as they are, without illusion. This gives us strategic clarity and emotional power. At the same time, we too must learn the art of role-playing. Instead of being brutally honest or naive, Greene advises us to wear our own mask consciously. By controlling how others perceive us, we gain influence and avoid unnecessary conflict. The wise individual knows when to reveal and when to conceal. Ultimately, mastering this law means living with emotional intelligence, aware that everyone plays a part. Seeing through masks doesn't make you cynical, it makes you free, capable of genuine connection and protection in a world of appearances. The law of compulsive behavior. Understand the patterns. Human beings are creatures of habit. Beneath our daily choices lie deep emotional patterns formed by childhood experiences, insecurities, and unresolved conflicts. In the law of compulsive behavior, Greene explains that people repeat these patterns unconsciously, driven by their inner compulsions. We like to believe we act freely, but often we are trapped in cycles, choosing similar partners, reacting to the same triggers, making the same mistakes. These repetitions reveal our character. Every person has a distinct emotional signature, and, unless recognized, it controls them. Greene urges us to study our past and identify recurring themes, failures, conflicts, or desires that seem to replay. When we observe these patterns with honesty, we begin to gain control over them. Awareness breaks compulsion. Understanding the patterns of others is equally crucial. By observing consistent behaviors, we can predict future actions more accurately than by trusting words. People reveal who they are through repetition. To master this law is to transform awareness into freedom. By understanding our patterns, we stop being prisoners of habit and become authors of our destiny. True power lies in self-knowledge, the courage to confront our inner drives and rewrite our story consciously. The law of covetousness. Master the art of desire. In The Law of Covetousness, Robert Greene explores one of the most powerful yet dangerous forces in human nature: desire. At our core, humans are driven not by logic, but by longing. We want what we don't have, what others seem to possess, or what feels just out of reach. This constant comparison and craving creates cycles of envy, competition, and dissatisfaction. Greene explains that desire is contagious.
We want something not because it has inherent value, but because others want it. This is the root of envy and social imitation, the endless chase for what appears desirable. Understanding this law allows you to turn that energy into a tool of influence. To master desire, you must first recognize it in yourself. Notice what triggers your cravings and where your envy points. It often reveals what you feel is missing within. Instead of being consumed by what you lack, transform that energy into motivation and creativity. When dealing with others, Greene suggests stirring desire subtly. Mystery, scarcity, and delayed gratification all increase value in the eyes of others. Overexposure, on the other hand, kills attraction. The key is to make people want rather than feel pressured. True mastery lies in emotional detachment. When you no longer chase out of envy or insecurity, you gain power. You become the source of desire, not its victim. Those who control desire, their own and that of others, move through life with quiet magnetism and strategic grace. The law of short-sightedness. Elevate your perspective. Human beings are naturally drawn to the immediate, the quick reward, the visible gain, the instant emotion. In The Law of Short-Sightedness, Greene warns us that this obsession with the present blinds us to long-term consequences. Most people react impulsively, driven by ego or temporary emotion, and fail to see the larger patterns unfolding around them. True wisdom, Greene explains, lies in developing strategic patience. Every action creates ripples. Every decision is part of a bigger story. Those who can think beyond the moment, months, years, even decades ahead, hold real power. To elevate perspective, Greene suggests cultivating historical awareness and emotional distance. Before reacting, step back. Ask, what are the long-term effects of this? Or, how will this look in time? This shift transforms you from a reactive person into a visionary thinker. Short-sighted people chase applause and quick validation. Far-sighted individuals focus on legacy, timing, and endurance. By resisting the lure of the immediate, you gain control over outcomes and align yourself with the rhythm of lasting success. The higher your perspective, the greater your freedom, for only those who see far can shape the future, rather than be trapped by it.
The law of defensiveness. Disarm with empathy and openness. In The Law of Defensiveness, Robert Greene uncovers one of the greatest obstacles in human interaction, our natural tendency to resist influence. People instinctively defend their ego, opinions, and autonomy. The harder you try to convince or control them, the more they resist. This defensiveness often turns relationships, negotiations, or collaborations into battles of pride rather than understanding. Greene teaches that true persuasion comes not from force, but from empathy and openness. When you make others feel heard, respected, and free, their resistance softens. The goal is not to overpower, but to disarm. He advises practicing strategic empathy. Observe people's emotional states, listen deeply, and acknowledge their perspective. When others sense genuine understanding, they let down their guard. Instead of confronting, you subtly guide them toward your desired outcome. This approach requires patience, humility, and emotional intelligence. Equally important is controlling your own defensiveness. When criticized or challenged, avoid reacting with anger or justification. Use such moments as mirrors, opportunities to learn about yourself and others. By staying calm and open, you turn potential conflict into connection. Greene emphasizes that openness is not weakness, it's strength under control. The truly powerful person makes others feel safe, seen, and understood. When you master empathy,
you gain influence that force could never achieve. To disarm is to connect, and connection is the ultimate form of persuasion. The law of self-sabotage. Confront your dark side. In The Law of Self-Sabotage, Greene confronts the inner enemy that destroys potential from within, our unconscious patterns of negativity, fear, and doubt. We often blame fate or others for our failures, yet the true cause lies in self-destructive emotions and beliefs that shape our choices. Each of us carries a dark side, the repressed emotions, insecurities, and impulses we refuse to face. When ignored, this hidden self acts out through procrastination, toxic relationships, or repeated mistakes. Greene insists that confronting this darkness is essential for personal growth and freedom. Awareness begins by recognizing recurring failures and emotional triggers. Instead of denying them, study them with honesty and compassion. This self-observation transforms guilt into insight. By accepting your flaws and fears, you rob them of their power. Greene draws inspiration from great figures who turned pain into mastery, individuals who used their struggles as fuel for transformation. When you stop running from your inner chaos, it becomes a source of creativity, strength, and authenticity. The path to mastery begins within. By confronting your dark side, you break the chains of self-sabotage and awaken a balanced, resilient self, one capable of growth, purpose, and true power.
The law of repression. Acknowledge the shadow within. In The Law of Repression, Robert Greene explores one of the deepest truths of human nature, that each of us carries a hidden shadow. This shadow is composed of emotions, desires, and impulses we deny or repress because they don't fit the image we want to show the world. We like to believe we are kind, confident, and moral, but beneath that mask live envy, anger, fear, and selfishness, the parts of ourselves we'd rather ignore. Greene warns that repression doesn't erase these dark emotions, it only buries them. What we suppress eventually leaks out through sudden rage, judgment, resentment, or self-destructive choices. The greater our denial, the stronger our shadow becomes, often projecting itself onto others in blame or moral superiority. The key to mastering this law is self-integration. Instead of pretending to be purely good, we must accept the complexity of our nature. Recognize your darker impulses without shame and channel them constructively. Aggression into ambition, envy into inspiration, insecurity into empathy. By acknowledging your shadow, you gain power over it. You become authentic, balanced, and far less likely to be manipulated or emotionally reactive. This self-awareness also deepens your understanding of others, since you can recognize their hidden struggles reflected in your own. Greene reminds us that greatness is not perfection, but wholeness. To embrace the shadow is to embrace your humanity, light and dark together. And from that acceptance comes emotional freedom, maturity, and inner peace. The law of envy. Guard against comparison. In The Law of Envy, Greene reveals envy as one of the most pervasive and destructive emotions in human life. Though few admit it, everyone compares themselves to others, measuring success, beauty, talent, or recognition. When we perceive someone as having more, it awakens feelings of inadequacy and resentment. Envy then poisons relationships and clouds judgment, often disguised as subtle criticism or passive hostility. To protect yourself, learn to recognize these signals early. Don't expose your success or happiness too openly around insecure individuals. Discretion prevents unnecessary hostility. More importantly, confront envy within yourself. Use it as a mirror to identify what you truly desire. Instead of resenting others' achievements, study and learn from them. Transform jealousy into admiration and fuel it towards self-improvement. By mastering this emotion, you rise above comparison and rediscover gratitude for your own path. The antidote to envy is purpose. When you are deeply engaged with your own goals, the success of others inspires rather than threatens you. Guarding against envy, both in yourself and others, keeps your mind clear, your heart light, and your relationships genuine. True confidence comes not from comparison, but from contentment rooted in self-awareness.
The law of generational myopia. See beyond your era. In The Law of Generational Myopia, Robert Greene reminds us that every generation is shaped by its unique environment, its values, struggles, and collective mindset. We inherit not only physical traits from our ancestors, but also emotional and cultural programming. Each generation believes its worldview is absolute truth, yet it is merely a product of time and circumstance. This blindness to the forces shaping us is what Greene calls generational myopia. We tend to see history only through the lens of the present, judging the past by modern standards and assuming our own era has figured it out. This arrogance limits our perspective and makes us vulnerable to repeating old mistakes in new forms. Greene urges us to step outside this illusion by developing historical consciousness. Study the past not as something dead, but as a living guide to human behavior. Notice how cycles repeat, how ideals, technologies, and moral values rise, peak, and decay. This awareness allows you to think more freely beyond the assumptions of your time. He also encourages empathy between generations. Younger people often reject the wisdom of the old, while older generations dismiss the new. True vision comes from bridging this divide, learning from both tradition and innovation. To see beyond your era is to think like a historian of the present. When you understand how your beliefs have been shaped, you regain intellectual independence. You stop being a product of your time and start becoming a shaper of it. The law of purpose. Awaken the higher self. In the final and most uplifting chapter, The Law of Purpose, Greene reveals that the ultimate mastery of human nature comes from aligning your life with a clear sense of purpose. Without purpose, people drift, distracted, anxious, and easily manipulated. But with it, every action gains direction, energy, and meaning. Purpose is not found through external success or approval. It emerges from within. Greene suggests reflecting deeply on your natural inclinations, the activities that spark curiosity, creativity, and flow. These are signs of your life's task, the work your nature calls you to pursue. Once you identify this inner mission, dedicate yourself to it completely. Purpose transforms adversity into fuel, replacing fear with resilience. It quiets the ego and connects you to something greater than yourself. Greene warns against living by imitation or comfort. True fulfillment requires struggle, focus, and growth. When you act with purpose, you transcend pettiness, envy, and insecurity. You rise above the chaos of human nature and awaken what Greene calls the higher self, the calm, centered, and powerful force within. In mastering this law, you become a creator of meaning rather than a seeker of it, living not by chance, but by choice.
In The Laws of Human Nature, Robert Greene takes us on a profound journey into the hidden forces that shape who we are and how we interact with others. Through timeless stories, psychological insight, and deep wisdom, he unveils the invisible patterns driving human behavior. From our emotions and desires to our fears, envy, and search for meaning. Each law in the book acts as a mirror, revealing both our light and our darkness. Greene shows us that true power begins with self-awareness, mastering our emotions instead of being mastered by them, turning self-absorption into empathy, and learning to see through the masks people wear. By understanding these universal laws, we stop reacting blindly and start acting with purpose and clarity. The book reminds us that every human being is driven by forces both conscious and hidden. When we learn to read these forces in ourselves and others, we unlock emotional intelligence, authenticity, and influence. Greene's message is not about manipulation, but liberation, to live consciously, think deeply, and connect genuinely. Ultimately, The Laws of Human Nature is a guide to becoming wiser, calmer, and more compassionate. It invites us to rise above impulsive reactions and to live with a higher awareness of what truly drives us. If this journey has inspired you to understand yourself and others on a deeper level, don't let it end here. Subscribe to Wiser Reads and join our growing community of curious minds. People who seek knowledge not just to learn, but to live better, love better, and grow wiser every day.